I'm Sparky, the orange quilt expert.
I am Bernie, and I wrote most of the ideas for the project.
I am Lava Lamp, and I was the rose expert. I am Magma, and I typed up this project.
I'm Blaze, and I was the blue quilt expert.
I'm Phlogistonator, and I did the t-shirts and some programming and some building.
I'm Firebird, and I'm Building Guru. I built most of this stuff on the robot.
And
This is Furno. He wasn't able to make it. He was the bowling guy.
our project. Some people prefer to shut their burners off, which cause problems. For example, a man died in St. Cloud, Minnesota. 67% of cooking fires incidents were in 2005. Thanksgiving Day is the peak for home cooking fires, and we have solutions.
Brainwave idea. You could wear a hat, but when your burners are on, it sends a message into your brain saying your burners are on. It makes you think about it. The robot. Another idea we had, if you fell asleep, a robot could prod your leg or foot, and it will say your burners are on. Your burners are on.
Then there's the burner app. If your burners are on for too long, your electronic device could have an app called The Last to Burn that popped up and reminded you that your burners are on. Your burners are on for too long.
Our solution.
So, our basic solution was that we could have 4 sensors on each of the stove burners. And when you turn the burners on, you would set a timer. And if you didn't set the timer, it would remind you. Once you turn the timer on, it would count down. And once the timer is off, once the timer is at the end, the sensors would sense if there was still a flame, and send a Wi-Fi message to the speaker that would say your burners are on. And we also considered that if you were deaf, then we could also have a light in the room, in all the rooms, that flashed if your burners were still on.
We shared our solution with a lot of seniors in Maine, and they really liked the idea. We will also show you an email we sent and got replied by an ideation specialist from Jump Associates.
This is my email that I sent and the reply that we got.
And Owen Shoppy is our Miss Winnie, our coach's son.
Thanks to our coaches Hotshot and Captain Quill, we had a lot of fun and knowledge with robotics.
They taught us how to work together and find solutions. We have the next one.
Okay, good.
And we've still got more.
Okay, now can you push this and that's a bit?
Yep. This is the house that I made. And these are the sensors. That's the light one, and that's the speaker. And then that's the G. And this is the oven burner.
But it has the lights and the heat sensors and the signal sending thing.
And one of our coaches unfortunately did leave their burners on for too long.
And that is what
This is
happens.
what happens if you put a pan or ceramic pan on a burner for too long and to leave it on.
Oh, so it might be useful for us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. So I'm wondering, you had all of these ideas at the beginning, these brainwaves that you went through. What made you to, oh, I like the flowers on the side. Sorry, I missed those before. What made you decide to choose this one and stick with this one as your solution?
Well, I think it was the best. We thought it was the best idea of all the ideas we had, because the brainwave idea, it would look weird if you wore that around all day long.
Okay.
And the robot would kind of be not easy, because if somebody came to your house and you were both seniors, and the senior was walking around and you were asleep. The robot was coming to prod your leg. The other senior might accidentally step on the robot.
Another problem, another thing was that the burner app, it wouldn't be. I mean, a lot of people don't actually notice when their phone does something, and the other two are a bit too futuristic, and the robot would cost too much. This would be fairly simple. They already have these, but they have a few problems.
Yeah, like with when I was doing research, apparently it said if you don't have the basic 4-prong outlets, you have to change all the wiring in your house so you have 4-prong outlets, and that would be more expensive than the actual thing itself. So it'd be a waste of money to have to get everything fixed. So this one little thing would work because the sensors that they have out today are only about this big. So they're not efficient. They're not 100% efficient. So they would work all the time.
So the one you're creating would
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, well, the one we're creating, we think would be more foolproof because the ones today, they, well, first of all, I don't believe they use speakers at all.
They do.
They're just a thing on top of your stove, and do they have 4 sensors or do they not?
They don't. They have 4 sensors, but what happens is if you have a habit of fiddling with things, like I know my grandparents fiddle with things all the time, you can mess up the system and it would completely mess everything up, and then it wouldn't work.
And another one that I was looking at, like it was one where you turn the burner on and then it senses if you're there or not, and if you're not there, it'll time for however long you set it, and it'll shut off, and then if you come back into the range of it, just like pretty much the whole kitchen, it will like turn back on.
And
Which
another
makes
problem
sense
with
as
this, the seniors, when the sensor senses that the senior's not in the room, then and then it was time to turn off the stoves, the timer would turn off the stove automatically. But when the senior comes back in the room, it would find that the stove was turned off, but the switch was still on, and they would get really confused about that.
Did you have a chance to share your information with some senior
Yeah.
citizens?
Yes,
Our coach is a senior citizen.
Oh, your coach.
All right.
Okay, go on.
And Jacobs.
My focus to neighbors.
Focus
My grandfather shared him with him. He actually was one of the people who helped us come up with this. As we interviewed him, and he said that the main a big thing that would help him, that helps him remembering things, is for him to say what he's doing, for him to say what he remembers. So we decided, instead of having some kind of alarm or something, for it to say what the problem is, instead of just beeping for a while, because I know I've been to my grandma's house and something started beeping and she's just searched the entire house for what was beeping.
Yeah. Can you tell us something? What did you learn? Some of you may tell us. What did you learn throughout the whole project?
Well, I learned that this is actually a problem. There have been cooking fires and deaths and houses burned down because of just someone leaving the burner on.
I didn't even really know that seniors have this problem. But when we asked them, they said that they do.
And Miss Winnie, she told us that seniors, they set something on the stove, but then they forget about it. Either they fall asleep, and then Miss Winnie said that she ruined the tea kettle just because she left it on the stove. And my parents, we went out for a walk, and when we came back to the house, our neighbors, they were really worried. The alarm was beeping, and they were deciding whether to call the fire department or not. So once we got back home, a soup pot was on the stove, and we took it outside, and it was completely black, roasted.
Well,
And
thank
my parents are 40 and 36.
So they're not.
Yeah,
So
they're
they're not
not
seniors, and they're still having. This might be useful for
Yeah,
everyone.
we did figure out that some people who aren't even seniors yet do have this problem.
Yeah, it's not necessarily senior citizen. Yeah.
Well, thank you
Okay,
very
thank
much.
you so much. Yeah, nice presentation.
It's a great presentation.